It's 5:30. I'll call the meeting to order and ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, give everyone just a couple more minutes to review the consent agenda items.
Just for the record, I wasn't here last time, but it says I was.
Oh. Regular meeting minutes, workshop, right? Or you just missed the workshop, correct? Go ahead and make that note.
Not that I cared that much, but
Okay, anything else? Okay, we will move on to the agenda for this evening. I know I cannot make a motion, but we do have CTE here about the grant, if anyone is opposed to moving that further up in the agenda. So Melissa doesn't want to say it. She doesn't have to, but you're more than welcome to. So
you might just be looking for a motion to approve the agenda with that moved up in the
that would be
order.
incredible.
I would offer that motion, sure. Okay.
Support. All right, anything further? Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, up first then we have the Sanborn Elementary Good News presentation.
Hello everyone. I'm Corey Knudsen, if you don't know me, and I'm the principal out at Sanborn. So I worked with staff on this. We just kind of wanted to highlight some of the things we've been working on this year, and hopefully you will feel, our hope with this is that you will feel connected to Sanborn and have some idea of some of the things that we're doing out there, and you're always welcome to come out, but I know that we're all strapped for time, so I understand. But I was thinking about our presentation, which was last spring. It was in April until now, and although we don't have anything that's huge or substantial that has happened from then until now, I kept thinking about this phrase, just a little progress each day sums up to big results, and we've been working hard to build systems and put just more supports in place, ensure that we're staffed, and we've been working hard on lots of things, and it does keep adding up. Sometimes we lose sight of that, but I know it's there, and as I put this together, I was reminded of that. So just a couple, like I said, really we're just kind of giving you some updates. So in the past, this was our old branding, if you will. So when we think about Sanborn, so not just PBIS, I put PBIS up here, but when I think about just like branding, this was our old logo. And so this is just a clip art image. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was just what teachers had shared around or pulled from the internet. We operated under the phrase or motto that Sanborn students are great, and there's 3 R's to stand for responsible, respectful, and really safe. This summer, we were provided with an opportunity to collaborate with AMA and go to a PBIS refresher. I think Jenny Marceau may have spoke on that a little bit last month, but one of the things that teachers had brought forth is just, can we change what we are focusing on for PBIS, and can we change the acronym? And I was like, yes, because I feel like Tony the Tiger every time we're like, this is great. So we have rebranded this year, and we do have Tony the Tiger, by the way, in our cafeteria and gym for that reason. So, but we have done some updating. So I know that Dr. Rabidow has looped you in all on our new mascots. So here is logo. Here's our new logo, and we rolled this out to staff and to families at the beginning of this year, just a soft rollout, and it was so well received. So we tried to put it on as much of our content as possible, just so that we are consistent. So instead of having a GUR assembly, we have a PAC assembly, and we changed our language. So we're focusing on pride, accountability, cooperation, and kindness. So the students have loved this. We've rebranded everything from like our PAC tickets. We have redone, the imagery on a lot of different things. Our students know it's our PAC assembly each week, and so this is really just kind of a part of the culture. And kids always remind us that they pick up on things so much quicker than we do. So I think we introduced it, and the next day they had it all down pat. And anytime we misspeak, they make sure that we are aware that it is now the PAC assembly. So we are still kind of waiting on a couple things, but we do have an order in to Mascot Junction, and that was a grant that was available through the AMA to get some posters all throughout our building. So they do exist, I think, in Besser already. I think they got their order, and then I know that Wilson has had 1 or 2 orders from a previous grant. So these are supposed to be coming, and these will be in our hallways. We're really excited about them. In the interim, we have made our own, but we're excited for new things to come. So just a couple of other things that we've done this year is we wanted to take PBIS the next step further. So we did not have any whole class recognition for, like, let's say I see a class walking down the hallway and they're demonstrating PAC behavior. How do we acknowledge that? So we have implemented Silver Paws. So our students are working hard to earn different amounts of them, and they work toward bigger goals. And then like in March, we'll have March Madness, so classes will be competing against each other, and we have different kind of incentives throughout the from January until the end of the year, because we just want to encourage our students to keep working hard, especially as the school year moves on and they get into some trickier times, or certainly in May when we kind of get into that testing season. So these are in recognition of whole class behavior. We used to have a system like this prior to COVID, but we updated it and brought it back, and the students are loving it. So another thing, this was something that I had kind of brought. I used a little bit in my last district and had always wanted to bring it tier 1, but we have implemented the zones of regulation. So these posters are all throughout our building, and they are just really helping students focus on how to be aware of their emotions, and then coming up with strategies that are tailored to the students for how they can respond to them. So the first step we know is like, green is our baseline. So if we're getting out of our baseline zone, then how are we going to respond to that? And as adults, we have probably either been taught or figured out, oh, I'm starting to get really angry right now. How am I going to respond or try to re-regulate? But our kids need help with that. And so we had brought this. It had been briefly discussed in the past at Sanborn, or maybe as a district. I don't know. I wasn't here, but it was just been so well received. So we did a pretty hard rollout at the beginning of the year. For the first month, teachers taught some lessons in class. I had brought materials from my past district, and we were able to roll it out in about 4 weeks. And then after that, what we did is we continued to reinforce it at our weekly assemblies. So we'll do like a read aloud, and then the students have to identify the zones and how to respond. So we're trying to embed it into as much as we can. And then school success, Amy Whitey out at Sanborn, she has all the content for this, and so she can embed it into tier 2 for any students who need the next layer. I had mentioned students were trying to help them identify strategies for themselves. So certainly at the K1 level, students have more of a uniform set of strategies, but as they get older, they can start to say, taking a walk for me doesn't really help, but if I can just take a break for 2 minutes, it does. And so we're just trying to help them build those skills over time. Another thing that's new this year is over the summer, the sensory path was put in. I believe that this was purchased prior to COVID. I think it was in 2019. I could be wrong though. And it hadn't been put down for lots of different reasons. I know that we could someday get a new floor, but at this point, we have kids who need it, and we've had it for a long time. We didn't know how long it would continue because there is some adhesive on the back, how long it would continue to stick. So we said, we're going to put put it down, we're gonna roll with it. And if we get new floors, we get new floors at some point, but we didn't want our students right now who need it to be deprived of it, because it was purchased in the time when some of our kids were still at our building. So we wanted to honor that. Our kids have loved it. A lot of them use this as one of their strategies in the zones of regulation. So you will find students spinning around in the hallway and jumping on colors, and they've done a wonderful job of using this appropriately. So we did teach this through some videos on morning announcements, and they picked it up. For Imagine Math, last year I had spoke a little bit just about Imagine Math, and one of our instructional assistants, Elizabeth Malvina, is a very skilled artist, and so she created all of these posters digitally this time, and then we had them printed. And for Imagine Math this year, students have been working incredibly hard, but they start in their classrooms once they get, the whole thing is in their classrooms, but they start with like a incentive board in their classroom, and then once they hit 11 lessons passed, you can see in the bottom left that board is full. That's where students start. So once they've hit their 11th passed lesson, they go on there, and then they're traveling this year to all of the different national parks. So that is something, our theme this year is traveling to different national parks, and you can see that many kids have started progressing to some of the other boards. We got started a little bit later this year just due to the grant, but you can tell that our kids are brought in, and they are we're full force ahead at Imagine Math. So it's been very positive. The kids were excited to have it come back, and it's been wonderful. So, and then we do something rather similarly to our with Accelerated Reader. Students are visiting the monuments not the monuments, but 6 different monuments based on how many points that they've earned, and so they keep going along. If you look on those posters, there's little suitcases, and that's their luggage as they travel to the monuments, and then at each area they get like a picture that gets put on there. So when they go see the Statue of Liberty, there's an apple that gets put on there, and so at the end they'll be able to have their suitcase. And then if you look all the way to the far right, all of those suitcases, those are actually pretty much first and second graders, but who have already achieved their year-end goal for AR. So that's been pretty incredible to see. I mean, we have first graders at 85 AR points, and at the beginning of December. So they're working really hard on this, and it continues to be a focus that we have. So I just wanted to highlight a couple things that our PAC is doing, because our PAC, they do so much for us, and so this is just a very brief taste of what they're doing and have done and continue to do. So I tried to organize this in the way that made the most sense, but hopefully it does to you. So for our previous events, meaning events we've had so far this year, our biggest fundraiser is our walkathon, and that was at the end of September. So students walk, they get beads, and we raised about $4,800, and that does support a lot of our things throughout the year. For family events, 2 Fridays ago, we had a family fun night. So Santa was there, they made an ornament, they have hot cocoa, decorated cookie. We had a pretty good turnout, and it continues to be a success. So that's free to families, and it's a great way for us as staff also to connect with some families that we maybe have a hard time connecting with. They're able to come in the evening. Like I said, it's a free event, so it was positive. And then going into the next part, so our book fair was back this year, and Catherine Rabidow had started some of this work last year and starting these conversations with our PAC about bringing back the book fair. There was a lot of, I want to say, hesitancy, because a couple years ago we brought it and we didn't hardly make any money, so we didn't really get to keep any of the revenue to purchase more books. And this was from December 6th through the 13th, so it just ended on Friday, and we had over $4,000 in sales. So 50% of that will come back to purchasing books for our building, which is huge. We really have not, I believe in the last 3 years, had much money to buy new books. There's just not been a ton of extra, and so we are hoping that this can go back into our library, and then we also have a book machine as well coming, and last year grant foundation, and so we're hoping to help support that as well. So this was a big deal at Sanborn. I know it just seems like a book fair, but it hasn't been there in several years. We had a line after our holiday concert. It was 45-minute wait. I mean, it was just so well received. I think at the last one we made less than $2,000 total, so to jump that much with a school of our size is huge, and I think the timing of this, when it was in the school year, played a big part in that too. So, and then kind of just to conclude, we're still figuring out our fundraiser. There's a couple things, people still have a few new ideas, but we always do a spring fundraiser. It's been butter braids in the past, it likely will be that again, but we also have a girl in the guest dance, and then we'll have dude in a date event, and so some of those details are still being ironed out, but that's what our PAC is doing, and I just wanted you to hopefully get an update of what's kind of going on at Sanborn, and I hope that this did that. Do you have any questions?
Any chance we could get a peek at the posters?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I thought those looked really
Yeah,
interesting. I
thank
wondered
you.
if we could just
And I
pass
have
them
to be
around
honest
real
with
quick.
you, so I made one set of these thinking they were like, I was making one set and then every teacher wanted them, so they're a little rushed, but, and we were trying to get them ready for the start of the school year. We ended up making ours kind of homemade because we were able to do more of what we wanted them to do. Zones of Regulation is I don't want to say it's like a package company, but it's definitely like a curriculum. So you can buy a lot of the things, but there's so much out there that we were able to access and just get in front of our kids. And it was really cool. The first 2 weeks of school, I had lots of parents saying, we've talked about the zones of regulation at dinner, and I was told I was in the red zone yesterday. I'm like, yep, sorry. So it's just cultivated a lot of really positive conversations. But also our teachers have responded so well to it. You know, it's teaching on a daily basis, it's challenging. And so, you know, we have had to talk through, like I had a teacher say to me, oh, I'm feeling like I'm in the yellow zone right now. How can I process this too? So really it's a universal tool, and that's what we wanted our students to have. So.
Can you speak more about the down the hallway thing?
Yeah.
Could-
So this, I don't know if it was from a grant or how it came to Sanborn, but so they can pick a color, so they can jump to a color, and then all those little paws, it's actually the ABCs, so it loops around and it comes back. When you get to the log, you walk on it like a balance beam, and then you spin, and then there's some more down the way. And the point of it is really a sensory pass. So maybe a student's dysregulated and they're just having the worst morning because they got in trouble on the way out the door or whatever. And so this is a strategy that some of them use just to refocus, to reset. Some of them do it independently, but we also have some students who do it with an adult kind of at the start and at the end. So, for instance, I had a 4th grader say, I made it to the end and I'm not in the green zone again. And so we had to talk about how this isn't just like an automatic fix your whole body, but it's a tool to help us get back to a regulated state. So we do see our kindergartners use it quite a bit because they just need something to help reset their minds and bodies to be able to learn. So I would say it takes some kids 30 seconds to like a minute to finish it, and then they can go back to class. So it's there and available, and if they don't need it, they don't need it, but if they do, it's there. So thanks.
We were a Sanborn family for about 12 years.
Oh, awesome.
And so I miss the GUR stuff, but I like the new wolf.
Okay, good.
Looks good.
Yeah, we're not opposed to the GUR. We just needed
Yeah.
some freshening up. So we still have GUR in our hallways. We still have some big posters that were there. We're not taking any of that down because it's still great resources. The kids still use the language of responsible, respectful, and safe, but we wanted to make it broader with the PAC because we felt like we were narrowing it down a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's kind of fun to mix it up and,
It is.
and change it up.
Yeah.
I can see that. How are you doing with Gen Alpha, like Sigma references? I'm Sigma, I don't go with the pack.
Oh, you must have been in our building today.
No, I'm just guessing.
We're working on it. I mean, I think it's always a work in progress. I think that, you know, we do hear a lot of that, and
Imagine.
I think a lot of it's on the bus. So we're just trying to redirect as much as possible, support students who maybe are using that for lots of different reasons. Are they using it to distract the group? Are they using it because they're trying to fit into a social circle? What does that mean? I would say it was worse at the start of the year than it is now. So we kind of have gotten through that.
use that as an opportunity to talk about kids who may feel outside the normal social circle and not,
I don't know if we've had the opportunity or kind of, I guess, thinking of this year because it hasn't been used in that way so far, but I do know that there have been some conversations. I know School Success has worked with something on the bus in relation to that, as students are just trying to kind of figure out their place with their peers.
yeah. Well, to hear my 13-year-old tell it, a lot of that is just going to be Gen Alpha craziness. But I was just thinking it could be a teachable moment, as they used to
Absolutely.
say, too.
Yep.
Well, anyway, it looks good.
All right. Well, thank you.
I appreciate that you share Imagine Math, because I feel like Sanborn is known for their Imagine Math, so it wouldn't have been a presentation without knowing
Well,
what beautiful stuff is going on.
I had a hard time at the beginning figuring out what I was going to focus on because I needed to figure out how to get Imagine Math in there. So you hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, they've been working really hard, and we're grateful for the partnership with Imagine Math too. So our students and parents are very supportive, and they're actually going into winter break with a challenge. If they do it 5 times over winter break, then they have, I think they get hot cocoa or something. So we just presented that today.
Anything else? Thank you for coming, and have a great break.
Thank you. Thank you.
We will continue on to the next item on our agenda, the summer 2025 Phase 2B bids.
So this is just kind of sharing the bids themselves. As you know, we want to have conversations about coming together for a special meeting at some point to potentially approve these bids. So right now, it's just getting them in front of you, and we have a lot of work coming up this summer. This is year 5 of the Safe Warm Dry Bond, so it is the final year. Had some conversations about the work does have to be done within the 24-25. I'm looking at you, Mary. When does the work have to be completed? Like, we have to plan for it to be completed during the 5-year period, but there's a grace period or something if things run past, or?
Right, as long as we're spending the money and the projects are going along, we're fine.
Okay. So even if we were to
Go to next summer.
And so I had conversations about potentially the concrete bid, and if we might want to break that up into more of a lengthy time frame. I don't know what the right term is, but sounds like we might be able to do that. And you spoke with Clark, and they felt that that's a possibility as well.
Yeah, come on up, please.
Ask a question, AJ?
No, not yet.
Oh.
Well,
And yeah, we did not receive any bids on concrete at this point. So the plan is we're going to rebid this week, get it out for bids, and bids be due after the first of the year. There was a couple things with not getting any bids. One bidder was waiting on another project to see if they were awarded it. Another contractor bid with another company that did not put a bid in. So, and Clark, in my talkings with Clark, they have promised that they will have participation in a rebid. So we will have a contractor for summer 2025. So there is a potential, yes, we could break it into 2 different groups to tackle, to conquer the whole project in one summer. That is a potential idea.
And so, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the scuttlebutt, Simon, is that it was just too big.
Well, and that's,
And so if we could.
we haven't
split it-
had any, we've been doing our post-bid interviews. We have not had any issues with any of the other contractors as far as the schedule goes. They have had no issues with the schedule. They understand the schedule. There's been we are in discussion of starting hopefully a little bit of work early in May, the back lot, and working our way around to get a jump on things come summer 2025.
It would be the ones that aren't bidding that would say it was too big. would be my,
I have not heard that. So.
right, that's why I'm saying, you know, that if work is too big, it's too big and you know it and you don't even bother putting a number in.
That is true.
You just step aside or step away from it and don't waste your time.
So that is a discussion we can have if we rebid. If we were to not receive numbers again, do we break it into? And that's a discussion I guess I can have with Clark.
I guess I would discuss that option with Clark before they rebid it.
Before we rebid, yes.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the two front and the back, it should be easy to split.
Yeah, I would agree that that would be an easy thing to do. I mean, we did that with the roof at the high school, same thing, to break it up, to make it more manageable last year. That was split into two different
Okay,
sections.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
But
So that is a potential solution.
I guess that's what I would, first thing I would ask Clark is, can we split this?
I can have that conversation with them tomorrow. So.
Okay.
And so we need to find a time, to come back as a board and take action on the bids. We can get, some more guidance from Clark, and then kind of have that plan. And typically, we would have had it in time to get it at the workshop and then take action at the regular meeting. And of course, we're now facing a 2-week break, which is why I just said we want to see if we can come together as quickly as possible. Not to rush anything, but, now if we can't, then we sit into the new year. And we just want to move forward as quickly as we can.
What day is our workshop?
That's
13th, is it?
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with us getting this on the 13th and looking at it on, is it 20th or 27th for the official?
27th is our regular meeting, yeah.
We could do a special meeting, in that time frame.
Well, potentially, if it's not too late, I know the email had suggested a special meeting this Thursday, but if it's not too late, you could also just piggyback it on the end of the workshop meeting on the 13th, too.
True.
I guess
'Cause I
I would
think-
go with that before having a special meeting prior to that time. But I do not see us being in any hurry here.
I would have a concern with the supply chains are still kind of lagging in certain areas. So,
Gravel's cheap and it's just down the street.
well, that's not the only thing that we're bidding on, though. We're bidding on painting and doors and metal and windows.
Yeah, our concern is the HVAC
Yeah,
equipment,
HA,
doors,
carpet.
that kind of stuff. Yes, gravel, that's one thing.
I just threw that one out there,
Yeah,
Simon.
and like site concrete, there's no long lead items in site concrete, so that's one thing.
I don't think we're waiting a month is gonna hurt us any.
Well, maybe we can,
So what is, I would like to ask, what is the point behind waiting a month? You have the bids on everything except for the concrete. What's the point in delaying a month to vote? When you have everything already and we can award the contracts, they can start ordering the items that they need to move processes along so that we have a better chance of meeting our timeframe in the summer.
I have a serious problem with not having the foundation before we start to build the rest of the house. Because so I had this conversation with Dave. If we go back to the concrete guys and say, we didn't get any bids, automatic 10% increase on pricing. I'm sorry, that's just your automatic, because nobody else bid on it. Okay? So you have the opportunity to increase your profit margin. Okay? If you tell everybody, we've got everything else awarded but you, that just adds again. Okay? I just do not think it's a good idea to go without our foundation.
So they're gonna know that the bids are received.
Yes, and that's why I say we're already
And they're
10%
gonna know
down.
that we are rebidding the concrete. They're going to already know that.
Okay, what happens if we don't get a concrete bidder?
I think we will. I'm sure that we would, especially if we split it into smaller.
Do you want to gamble on Payne and Dolan getting $600 if there's no concrete here? Because once we sign that contract, we are bound. Does that make sense, Mary? Right now, we're free. We have no responsibilities. We sign the Payne and Dolan, we're bound to that.
The only thing, okay, so we can still move ahead with the inside of the building parts, the glass and the HVAC and things that are gonna take time. If you wanna hold off on the site, I don't have a problem with that, but I think delaying our HVAC and stuff is going to be a big mistake, and respectfully, AJ, I really think that it is a big mistake to delay those things, because we have run into delays like Besser, the one unit didn't come in until, I mean, so I think if we hold off on doing the site because of the concrete and move ahead with the other things, I think that would be the best approach, because that way the vendors for the doors and HVAC and stuff like that can get things ordered and get things going.
Yeah, and that would be everything besides, site work and paving at this point.
So how long are these quotes good for?
90 days,
And when were they issued?
6 or 12, 11, the 11th was the, bids were due on the 11th.
Okay, so it's not a matter of the quotes going up, it's a matter of the concern over the purchasing and getting the process started, is that correct? So even if we had a Thursday meeting, nothing's gonna happen till after the holidays, so, we got Christmas the following week. I mean, purchasing at the soonest would be the last week of the month, even if we did that. So, I mean, we're a matter of 2 weeks apart here on this conversation. How long do we think it would take to iron out the concrete work and shore that up if you spoke with them tomorrow?
We should have that, shored up by the 13th workshop meeting, so.
And we could have an answer and possibly
we could
bids?
Possibly bids, yes.
Okay, so if we delay, and this is, I'm just saying if, we delay till the 13th, the bids here are not gonna change. The purchasing would only be delayed at most 2 weeks. And we could hopefully solve all the problems and wrap this up in a pretty bow by that time. Is that correct? I mean, it's possible?
That is correct.
All right. I guess I wouldn't see holding off till the 13th, if it's not gonna delay that much, a matter of 2 weeks.
Are we looking for a motion on all of that?
No. No. This is
To
just to get
establish
the
a date.
boards in front of, the bids in front of you, so that you can see the numbers. And then we were trying to arrange a special meeting to
That's what
take
I meant,
action.
for the meeting, to arrange a meeting.
Sorry?
A motion to arrange for a meeting to.
No.
We don't need that.
No, it's just.
But we
when
can make it
can-
an action item on the 13th.
We certainly could do that, yep.
Okay.
But then we would have to have a special meeting to award them.
Yeah, so the
At the
13th
end.
is the workshop, and we would just tag the special meeting where you take action on it at the end of that, or as a separate meeting after the workshop on the 13th. But we wouldn't need any motions or anything like that tonight.
Okay. I was just, sorry, trying to figure out how to move forward.
Yeah.
I do have a question, Dave.
Yeah.
How much do we get back on the rain garden?
As far
Here on Pines?
as far as the grant?
Yeah, the grant.
Do we have any numbers on that at this point?
We do, but I have to look them up. I can't. It's not in my head at the moment.
does it cover the costs?
Oh, yes.
That's what I'm getting
Yeah.
at.
There was a break even though you were
Okay.
district cost.
Did we decide to go with the rain garden?
I think as of right now, yes.
Okay. Final warning on that. Okay. It is, if you have that, it is designated wetlands. Okay. We cannot touch that again. Okay. 25 years down the road, 50 years down the road, that is still wetlands, and you cannot change that. And believe me, that is not something we want to get into. Because wetlands, when you say that word, that makes a big mess in short order.
Yeah, if that's true, that is really something to keep our eyes on. I remember from my time as a commissioner, whenever we wanted to do anything with any property, and if it involved wetlands, I think at the time you had to replace it with 10 times the area. If you wanted to do something to a wetlands area, you had to like set aside 10 times that area and replace it, which for us might be kind of tricky.
Well, so you can, it's a game. You can buy wetlands now, but they're about $100,000 an acre. And what was proposed, I believe, was like a quarter of an acre. So you're looking at a $25,000, 20 years down the road, we need more parking at AHS. You can't touch it. Okay?
Have there been any conversations about it being designated wetlands? So we've got time to follow up on it.
Okay, it's one of those little things that gets slid in there. Yep, it's a rain garden, it's a retention pond, whatever you want to call it. But that's not how the DEQ views it once it's constructed. Does that make sense to you? A beaver blocks a drainage ditch and floods 10 acres. That's a wetlands now. Yeah, the ditch was there and it drained that property, but sorry. So,
And if there's that same stipulation, it wouldn't be $25,000 because of a quarter of an acre. It would be 10 times that if that is still in place.
I don't know if that 10 times, I think
No?
you can swap even for even now.
You can, okay.
I think, I could be wrong.
We might want to check on that, because that doesn't seem like a sort of regulatory thing that the state would give up easily, because it certainly was a deterrent, let me put it that way. So, then, that case would be a lot more.
Is this something we can get clarification on then?
I think so, yeah. I mean, we're working with.
Because I mean, if it's a
Huron
pre-existing
Pines.
wetland, that's one thing, but if we're creating one, giving it the designation of a wetland within our own property where we can't use it in the future, that is problematic. So
Yeah.
I think that some clarification there would be a good idea.
Not to go backwards, but I am. So Mary, can you speak on which, or Simon, which bids that you're most concerned about as putting off, whether it's 2 weeks or a month, that it would potentially delay ordering? Which ones are of concern, other than?
The HVAC plumbing, bids, and then doors and storefronts.
The entrances and storefronts, that one, windows, curtain wall.
Yeah, and storefronts. Rough carpentry and general phase would have some interior doors and stuff in it. So that probably, hard to say if they're 6 to 8 weeks out or if they're more.
Can the interior items be separated out?
They can, we would then need, right, I mean,
They
they can, but we would need to find a time for us to come together.
Well, I mean, if that's the concern and it's that pressing of a concern, we still need some clarification for the external work. If we could separate them and appease everyone by voting on the internal, then maybe we do that, I don't know.
So first piece in that is availability, and it doesn't sound like a majority is available, Thursday. again, we don't need to do this as official. I can send out, an invite on other dates or that, or if we want to try and hash out everyone's schedule right now, we can. But as far as can we break it apart, we can, correct? You're okay with us potentially pulling out the interior and having it approved at a special meeting earlier than the 13th potentially. So then it would just coming down to board availability.
Well, maybe we can attempt that through non-dialogue emails, just to, if you could possibly, I know we worked on the 19th, was there not consensus on the 19th, not quorum? I knew I couldn't, but I didn't know what else was in that, okay. And I know, Sarah, you start traveling after the 26th, but maybe we can just throw out an email with a few potential dates and see if we can, it'd be obviously a pretty quick meeting, take longer to drive here than it would to actually hold the meeting, I would guess, but hopefully that would get some things ordered so that we're not causing a huge delay on some things, but give us extra time on other things that need that time, so.
Well, is there anything else we have to hash out on the internal issues prior to having a special meeting? If this is a matter of just voting on this, is there an issue with dealing with it now?
We'd have to, I think, amend the agenda and put that in there.
I mean, if it's,
I guess I would like to wait for Clark's recommendation on that.
Are all these or post-bid talks, all the ones that we have here, they're all your post-bid interviews completed, Simon?
All except Stanson's.
Which is why we were aiming for Thursday to give us
Right.
time to conduct them all and then.
Yeah, because I, excuse me, on the HVAC, normally you'd say, well, let's go with Johnson and Wood, because they're the cheapest, or, I'm sorry, Haggard's is cheaper, but maybe something was in the post that's not in the number.
That's why I would like to bring Clark's recommendation to the board.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds smart not to rush it then, so. Okay, well, let's just move ahead to see if we can hash out through email date for a special meeting for those that we can move forward, and then wait on the others and plan on a special meeting on our workshop date of January 13th. Does that seem fair?
That works.
All right. Okay, we are then, if we're everyone happy to move on? Okay, we are then at the first opportunity for any citizens or delegations who would like to address the board. Okay, I see some head shaking of no's back there, so we will move on to our action items, and we would need approval of the November 25th, 2024 regular meeting minutes and approval of the December 9th monthly workshop minutes with that change to AJ not being in attendance. So, good. Copy paste, yep.
Did my cardboard cutout look that good?
Yes.
I move to accept the regular meeting minutes from November 25th and the workshop meeting minutes from the December 9th.
Support.
Okay, anything further? Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, we are at the additional business requiring board action, and like we discussed, we will bump up our agriculture education FFA grant, so. Melissa.
Just a couple of, well, I guess, Melissa, you want to come up and you can share with us?
So I believe everyone received the email from Ron Worth, our interim CT director. He wasn't able to make it this evening. I would just add on that the 61S money was earmarked specifically for agri-science and natural resource programs. We had opportunity to work with Joyce McCoy last year and apply for the grant, and we were awarded that. We've already used the majority of the funds to upgrade our equipment for our new natural resource updates for our program. Our natural resource curriculum was quite outdated. Our other instructor, Aubrey Scott, has a background in environmental science and natural resources, and we're able to get a lot of input of what we need to do to update a lot of our equipment. So this year, we did go from our segmenting to competencies, so we did have a change in our curriculum, and we took that opportunity to look at updating our courses and some of the equipment. So some of the equipment that's already been purchased is a lot of like water testing equipment, some tough laptops that can be taken out in the field and doing water quality and soil quality, equipment like gaiters and boots and nets and other things we need for water testing as well. So we were able to use a lot of that. The one large item was the purchase of a compact tractor for our program. We have a lot of new projects that we are trying to integrate, one of which is a large composting project. We produce a lot of compost and waste that can be composted. Currently, it's just getting thrown away. So we want the opportunity to take the animal waste and the greenhouse waste and be able to do a composting program. I am working with the Northeast Michigan Stewardship Initiative with, we were awarded a grant, and with the place-based education program, so we are using that money to construct compost bins where we can put large amount of our waste, but we would like to also have equipment that can assist us with that composting project. In addition, we would plan to use the tractor for a lot of other aspects, landscaping, beautification, other projects that we're currently not able to do. Also be able to utilize it with our greenhouse program as well. And a large part of our curriculum is also focused on safety. And so we would look to be able to, especially for my advanced students, my juniors and seniors, to be able to go through a tractor safety certification program and to give them opportunities then that they could take into the workforce with them. Be able to have opportunities to work with that piece of equipment to help them when they are graduating and looking for maybe going into production themselves or working on a greenhouse or a farm, and be able to have those skills to take with them. So I guess my question is, if you have any questions for me.
How much is left?
We currently have 31,000 left. And that's approximate. I mean, approximately 31,000. And you probably, I believe you have the bids, and we did evaluate the bids, and we selected one that we felt was the best fit for what we had left for our amount. And also, we also looked at things like warranty and servicing that were also part of the bid process as well.
Forgive me, you're looking at the LS 42 horse, is that the?
Correct,
Okay.
yeah.
Is that a cabbed tractor?
No, none of them were cabbed. As far as my knowledge, I don't believe it was cabbed.
Okay. Were you buying any other implements for it? Because
We would have, we're asking for a bucket loader in the front, which would come standard, and then we're also asking for removable forks that would be able to lift pallets with, like especially with our greenhouse program, where we have pallets like things like soil and old soil and composting. So to be able to have removable forks as well was part of the bid process.
And you have room in the current facility for storage?
Correct. We have room within our agri-science shop. Well, depends on what's going on during the shop. We also have our storage barn too. That's over by the football stadium that we're able to store equipment in as well.
Okay, the old red barn.
Yes.
Is that a 6-year or 7-year warranty? I forget what they have on LS.
I thought it was a 6-year.
I think
I
it's
don't have
6
it in front of me, but I believe it was a 6-year.
You know, Sumrich does a very good job with their any of their warranty work. I've been very impressed with them, so. Yeah. Okay, very good, thank you.
Do you have an LS?
I do have an LS, yes.
Thank you. Anything further from Melissa? No, thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Have a great break. Okay, so we would need a motion to approve the purchase of tractor number 2, MT242E for the agri-science program.
I would offer that motion.
Support.
Okay, anything further? Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, note that AJ opposed. No abstaining, thank you. Up next, second reading of Neola Update Package, Volume 39, Number 1, September 2024. The following policies were submitted for second reading with no changes from the first reading held on December 9th. Policy 6325, Procurement, Federal Grants and Funds, and Policy 8321, Criminal Justice Information Security.
And I would just add that we do have an official, land surplus area definition, and it is what we were discussing at the workshop. And then the firm is any business that operates within that area. So those are directly clarified from our policy company.
So that's any local business then, basically?
Yep.
How do you give preference to any local? Never mind.
So that, did that clarify your question, Eric? Because I seen you had a question in the minutes.
Yes, I did have a question. I think we hashed it out. It's still clear as mud, but, it is what it
Federal
is.
government?
Federal government.
Yeah, and we're obligated to implement them to the best of our ability, and interpret them to the best of our ability.
And does this community fall in that category? So any local business would get preference?
I don't know, we didn't.
You want me to read it?
Any given year?
Well, I think, isn't that the one that it's dependent upon what the percentage relative to the unemployment rate and national unemployment rate, so I
Yes.
think from year to
It would-
year, it could be,
It was
or it
ebb
could
and
not
flow.
be.
Well, I'm just saying, like, as of this year, we don't know. Never mind. It does not matter.
We just know if it comes up, we will, we have a definition.
Sure.
And then we will go through it.
Okay, so we'd need a motion to approve the policies as presented.
I'd offer a motion to approve policies 6325 and 8321 as presented.
Support. Either one. Okay, anything further? Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, up next, second reading of policies, board member ethics and use of electronic mail. You'll find in those the highlighted revisions that were made at the workshop. Inserted in the board ethics, new letter B, that board members will comply with the provisions of the Open Meetings Act, including electronic communication. And letter J, inserting the words benefit or for personal benefit or partisan gain. And the electronic mail, we just inserted the agenda items also being shared with the vice president as our typical practice is. Anything further on that? Otherwise, we would need a motion to approve the policies as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, anything further? Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, thank you. Up next, the 2025-2026 school calendar.
And you may have seen that AMA did approve, they did a press release today announcing their five-year calendar. And really, they were thankful to ACC for kind of leading that charge of doing what we can to align those spring breaks across not only AMA, but anywhere that ACC services students, which, if I remember correctly, is all the way up, tip of Presque Isle County down to some areas in the thumb and anywhere in between. And so in them doing business in all of those places, their students are potentially involved in other community colleges in those locations. So hats off to them for getting it as aligned as it possibly can. But for our purposes, we are bound to follow winter and spring breaks as defined by AMA's five-year calendar. We now have that. And then just highlights, we are reducing the number of half-days for our families and front-loading a little bit more professional development at the beginning of the year. And I will just put it out there, the next 2 years, we'll have a full 2-week Christmas break. And then after that, get ready, people, because it goes down to 7 days. You'll be coming back on Wednesday, not next year, not the following year, but the following year. Again, it all has to do with when these holidays align, and as they move through the days of the week, the common calendar will be adjusting accordingly. But for right now, we have a spring break, a 2-week winter Christmas break, and then end of March spring break, as you see there.
So just clarifying on like the August, for example, those blue dates under opening week, that's for staff, correct?
Yes, full-day staff, PD.
And then the students report back those bold dates in the following week. All right, the 25th then?
Yeah, oh, sorry, I was reading, looking at the calculation. Yeah, so student first day in 25-26 would be August 25th. And then the last day would be June 10th, barring 11-plus snow days.
Another clarification question. When you say 7 days, do you mean 7 business days or 7 days total?
7 business days.
Okay.
Yeah, so Monday through Friday, the week of Christmas, and then New Year's is on, I think, Monday nights.
Yeah.
So we get Tuesday off and then back on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Yep. And that's 2 years from now.
Yeah.
So,
Anything else regarding the calendar? Okay, if not, we're looking for a motion to approve the calendar as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Nothing else? Last chance. Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, passed unanimously, thank you. Okay, Wildcat Court property sale.
So, Eric had the question about whether or not to allow modular homes, and after talking with the realtor, Mary suggested that we not do that because you can't ensure the quality of the home being put in. So, that was her take on that. It does have, municipal water, but the lots have to put in a septic system.
Do the lots have enough room?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I guess I have a question, how they can say you can't guarantee the quality when that's dictated by building codes and the laws that dictate that. You know, we're not speaking of mobile homes, we're speaking of modular homes, which there happens to be several of them within the city that have been put on lots. I guess I have a little bit of a question on that.
Going by what she said, and there's a lot of different companies out there, of course, and, you know, the finishes on it might not be as nice.
I also
or
bring that up because I know some
things
people
like
that are
that.
trying to build right now and they cannot find a builder to build a stick-built home. They've been delayed 2 years or greater, and so their option is a modular, again, not mobile, very different thing.
Right.
And, I'm sorry, I'm speaking back here. And the quality is, again, dictated and required by law, so I would, you know, I guess I would question that.
I guess I don't have a problem with a modular going in there. Do you realize, Dave, your neighbor has a modular house across the field? Steve Lewis's house, the 2-story house, that's a modular house.
Got it.
I mean, it wasn't stick-built, so you wouldn't have known that if I hadn't told you that.
No.
So,
I could tell you from a lending perspective and a financing perspective, it's not so much the structure itself as what it sits on. And that difference between not mobile, modular, that would have to, I mean, that's always got to be clarified and spelled out. That's probably why she suggested what she suggested, unless there is provisions that there must be in-ground foundation and everything that goes on those lots must be affixed to it. Then I can see both of your points. Without that qualification, I can absolutely see where the realtor is coming from and making the suggestion that she made. So I don't have an answer to whether that is a requirement, but I've just kind of given you the background as to why you probably got the answer you got. And I would have to agree that we would want that prerequisite established. Beyond that, I agree with you guys. There's, the quality of some of the prefabs and modulars are pretty impressive these days.
Well, you could always put in a definition of what a modular home is, like what you said. It has to be
It's got to
this,
be, yeah.
this, and this.
Yeah.
And that's spelled out, and like you said, in order to get a loan, that has to be differentiated. And it
Yeah.
sets on a foundation, it
Mhm.
can sit on a basement, it's not, again, it's not a framed vehicle. So, I don't know. I just don't wanna see someone buy this and then be in a fix where they can't build because they can't find a builder for a few years. That's all.
I mean, we've been holding on to these lots as long as we have. We can go back and look into that a little bit more. I guess.
I don't
Yeah,
think we
go
need to look
Is this the realtor's recommendation, or is this like a city ordinance or builder inspection type thing? Because that's different too, you know, I mean, if the building inspector says we can't do this, then by all means, that's a policy, legal standpoint. I guess my question would be, if the bank doesn't care, the building inspector doesn't care, why are we letting the realtor dictate that that's the requirement?
I posed your question to her, and that was the answer I got. I don't know what else to say. I think she was just trying to maintain the integrity of the neighborhood, because while there are some extremely nice modular homes out there, there are some that don't look very nice. And maybe the quality of the materials they're using on the outside, or the windows, or whatever, may not be stick build might be. So
I also lived in a stick-built house that didn't have a square corner in it.
True.
So, I mean, we can check with the code and everything, and
I can find out some language. I mean, she did make the comment that the city does not allow modular homes.
yeah.
So, I don't know. This is in the township though, so.
Simon, building background, do you have an opinion on that?
Well, I guess modular, modular trailer, we're gonna allow no trailers, no, mobile homes, to be put on site. Prefab, like I said, if we're talking pre-manufactured home, they make some pretty nice you can get pretty nice pre-manufactured homes, so I don't know if you can write a prerequisite or, something like that into the deed, has to be approved, approved pre-manufactured home, I don't know how that, I'm not a realtor.
I had this, sorry to interrupt, I had the same thought about if it wouldn't be too onerous and too difficult having some kind of language in there that it had to be approved by somebody, but then again, I don't know what our chances of really enforcing that would be.
I would hate to deal with that for 10 lots, or is it 10 or 6? But
There's 5.
if somebody's going to go through the trouble of buying a lot, getting your septic, they're not going to throw up a mobile home. And I'm not saying to include that. I agree, but I don't see a problem with saying modular.
I guess the definition of, modular,
Or
how
manufactured,
you
yeah.
interpret that, pre-manufactured, a panelized building, built off-site and brought on-site, that's something I think would.
A lot of variations
It's like
there.
a tiny house.
Well, yeah,
It's on a trailer.
I would think, that's where I would leave, probably
Well, it does say it can't be less than 1,100 square
Yeah.
feet. It does have,
Put another story on it, we're good to go.
Tiny house on top of tiny house on top of tiny house. We're good.
No travel trailers like that, I think that's what we're trying to avoid, yeah, no wheels on it. Not with the axles still underneath it, just the tires.
Right, and that's typically from a financing perspective, that's typically the criteria, is affixed to a, a foundation, a poured foundation of some type, or a, dug and poured or crawled, whatever it is. But nothing, no axles, nothing single, that type of thing.
Nothing that has a title to it.
That seems to me, Stacy, maybe the best way, if there is language we can include about it being fixed to a foundation, that would, because I think the boxables, you can add onto them enough that you can get into the correct square footage. But, so the specter of Elon Musk is like looming. But I think you could probably, with that stipulation, that might be the easiest way to get to
And
that.
we're in a little bit of a pickle because we don't want to dictate all kinds of things. We also want to, as best we can, honor the existing structures and their style of home, and keep to that as much as we are able, without being excessively onerous. So that may be an easy fix.
Mary, did she have any other examples of, different subdivisions with their, because it's written in the.
She said most subdivisions
In the
don't
deed
allow them,
language,
so. I'm sure if you buy something out in the country, or, that, like where Dave's house is located, that the rules are less strict. I know some townships allow mobile homes on lots and acreage or whatever, but she was just stating, just to maintain the integrity of the neighborhood, to not go that route because of the varying quality between the different companies and stuff.
okay, so I think we have two options here. One is we can approve the motion as this sale as it is, or we can, again, table it and try to work on better language for the first restriction. Obviously, at this time of the year on December 16th, I'm guessing we're not putting these to market over the next 2 weeks, but
I move to table it till our workshop on January 13th.
I would support that.
okay, AJ made a motion to table this until our workshop. Eric supported it.
Is there any way, because obviously this conversation's gonna go in circles even then. Is there any way we can get maybe some input from a building inspector for the township or community, just as far as clarification on some of these things?
Yeah, and
we can.
I'm thinking, I don't know if we could get a comparable as far as to what Barrington Circle or what ProBridge, what their language is in like their, lot back in there, that we can compare it to.
I'm sure they'll say no manufactured homes, but
I can get you the paperwork for that. I can provide that. We don't need to bring a professional in. I can let you know what the wording is for that particular.
Because, township, the building inspector, he really doesn't care as long as it's, code
Right.
approved.
Right.
This is kind of up to us to, ensure that what's being built there, fits the neighborhood, doesn't become an eyesore, doesn't, upset the neighbors.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to be argumentative on this at all. It's just if someone buys the lot, like AJ said, pays for the well, septic, whatever is in there, puts up an 2,300 square foot home, it's not gonna be a mobile home. Why are we gonna split hairs on whether it's, the 2x6s are nailed together here, put together in a factory, if it would inhibit someone from being able to get a home? That's, I have a little hesitancy in that. We're still adhering to the size. They still have to meet building standards. You know, so from a legal standpoint, there's not gonna be anything that's substandard. They still have to pass inspection. Am I wrong? I mean, any new structure
No,
has
I
to
guess
pass
that's
it.
the definition of, modular, mobile,
Well, I guess we're not experts in that, so maybe we can find out what that means.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to table this until our workshop. Obviously, if we think we've got some great language and we need to get moving, we can maybe add action item to special meeting also that evening if necessary, so.
I'm kind of wondering if when the Realtor is apprised of our concerns, if she might not maybe expand somewhat on her answer to Mary. Because I'm torn as well. I mean, I think Eric's point about somebody not being able to build on property that they've legally purchased for, 2 years, that's a pretty big restriction.
And
And
invested.
I would hate to see that, but at the same time, it is a charming neighborhood, and I can understand wanting to protect it. It just seems like maybe this would be easier if we could be a little more specific, but without being onerous again.
Okay, motion on the floor, all in favor of tabling until January, show of hands, please. Okay. Okay, aptitude.
So I gave this to you in my superintendent updates, and I don't know how well it printed up. So just wanted you to see this in person.
Thank you.
So again, Aptigee is a website host company that also handles mass communications and social media, not the social media itself, but our ability to communicate out through social media. It streamlines that whole process, and then it also, as we saw at the workshop, they have much more contemporary, visually pleasing interface. It just looks better than our current website. We've worked with our current website provider and feel that we've gotten everything we can out of them. And Aptigee is a step above, but we feel it's well worth it to take advantage of that, especially with our strategic plan and family and community partnership. Many people's first interaction with the district is with our website, and if that's the case, we should be very lucky that we have a second point of contact with them. But I just wanted to clarify. So this item is already in our existing budget that we adopted. It's just that we would now be increasing that level. Payment due within this budget year is that $13,300, so we'd be asking you to approve that again, because it's above the current amount in the budget that you approved back in July. The next two payments of $18,200, that first payment comes out July 1st of 2025, so it's in next year's budget, and next year's budget would reflect that when you adopt it, so we wouldn't need to take action on that. And then the following year, again, in '26, it's $18,000. And that's roughly $4,000 more than we are currently paying for our website. But we believe, and we saw, what we will get back should be well worth that. So anyway, right now you're just approving the additional expense of $13,300. And then we would begin working with them in that transition in January, and there's a timeline of moving everything over to the new system, getting people trained, and then officially launching it at some point, late spring, around that July. Summer would be a great time to launch that new website.
Great. We talked about this a lot at the workshop, and definitely needed, and websites that are using this company, they do look very nice, so. We would need a motion to approve the Aptigee expenditure for the amount of $13,300.
So moved.
Support.
Anything further?
Your comment about this being the first connection with our district some people might have. I actually, in reviewing materials for this meeting, I actually listened to the radio spots. And those sounded good. So.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I liked it. But I think this is an excellent course. I think it's a very, very good idea.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Is it a 2-year contract?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Well, 2.5, because it starts technically on January 1st when we start working with them. But, yes, then the next 2 years are in this, what you're looking at there. So I think that's 2.5, I don't know. Yeah, because all of 25, 26, and all of 26, 27, plus January to June.
Why the little subject to 5% increase?
Yeah, I asked him about it. If it is simply 5% right now, what we're seeing across the nation for software systems, that's okay. We're, with our tools like Frontline and Synergy School Improvement or Student Information Systems, I'm hearing horror stories of, some local districts getting hit with double-digit increase in bills. I don't remember exactly, but certainly in that 30% or higher. It just seems to be kind of going through Silicon Valley, for lack of a better description, of all these existing programs that we've been using in the last 10 months, 12 months have seen very sizable increases. So if we are held to 5% annual increase, I think we'd be in a good place. Of course, everything is negotiable as well. But I did bring that up to them and let them know that.
It was just funny that they included that. Usually that's not on that front page.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I would agree.
just to clarify, I think it would be a year and a half that we would have the 13.3 getting us to July of 25, and then 18.2 for the following 12 months, and then the 12 months beginning 26 would be the 19,110, right? Because it would reflect the 5% increase? It would be the 18.2 subject to the 5% increase?
So, no, that
No?
would be,
Okay.
that one would be, and then following that, that's when they put the subject to.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, then you're correct. It would be the 2.5
Yep.
years. I was wrong. Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Thank you for clarifying that.
Okay, anything further? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Great Start Readiness Program Handbook.
And so we are excited to be moving towards offering Great Start Readiness under APS's umbrella. And again, as we discussed at the workshop, part of those pieces we have to have in place one of them is an approved GSRP handbook. And, if you have any concerns about what's there, we do have the option to approve it like we have most recently our high school handbook for a period of time, and then just kind of schedule when we come back and review it. But at this point, what was presented to you, we'd ask to get that approved so that we can move forward in the compliance pieces needed to get our licenses and get the program up and running.
So we would need a motion to approve that GSRP handbook.
So moved.
Support.
Anything further?
I just thought I'd add, I'm excited about this program. Actually, one of my kids, my youngest, was involved in the GSRP program when it was at Ella White. And they were just extraordinarily sensitive and helpful. It was a great program for her. It turned out to be, because of the disease that she had at the time, which we didn't actually know when she was enrolled, it turned out to really be potentially life-saving. They were so responsive. So I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be a wonderful addition, and I know it's biting off a little bit for us to be responsible for this now, but I think it's great.
Okay.
I'm excited about it.
Okay, anything further? Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay. Moves, thank you. Okay, human resources staff updates. Michelle.
All right, we have several updates today, and I will struggle with a few of them, so please I apologize for mispronunciations here. We have some new hires. We have professional staff, Jessica Solimsky, she's one of our math teachers. Nicole Cuddy is a Spanish teacher. Audra Zelinsky is a junior kindergarten teacher. Kelsey Kroll is a special education teacher. Roxanne McConnell is a special education consultant. We have support staff, Ian Beal as a custodian float, and Sherry Herzl as instructional assistant. We do have some resignations. Katrina Billieu is accounts payable clerk. Kirsten Bellinger is a fourth grade teacher. Tabitha Mether,
Metheringham.
thank you, as a special education teacher. We have Joanne Richards as an instructional assistant, and Brianna Koffel for security. We did have one rescinded. Vincent Thomas resigned, and he has decided to stay on. We have terminations of Alexandra Cody in our food service, and we have a retirement of Kristen Shepka, social studies teacher, so we just wanted to say thank you for your 29 years of service. And I do have a couple of notes to share with you about some HR recruiting that we've been doing. We do plan on doing early offers this year for recruiting, so we have already started with Saginaw Valley and meeting with them to talk with them about their spring graduates. We have one that toured last week, and we have 3 that are touring this week, so that we can make some early offers and start planning and building curriculum around those students and vacancies that we have. And then we also, on Friday, I went to Northern Michigan University and met with some students there. So those were all December graduates, so we were trying to recruit a couple of them. We've already reached out to them as well. Since we now have some promotions here, we need to backfill some of those openings for December, January openings. So at this point in time, we are trying to work a little bit ahead. So if you see some additional postings coming forward and postings, positions being offered, that's what it's for. Hopefully for the January, it's our second semester, and then also for next fall, starting to get those out there. And then we just need a recommendation for professionals, or the approval for motion for professional staff. Any questions?
I just have a question, if you have any sort of update on like the exit interviews, or are we still working on
We
something
have
with that?
exit interviews, and Christy is reaching out to people. Unfortunately, we are not getting people responding back. So I have directed Christy to start reaching out. She was waiting for them to leave and then reaching out, and I've told her, no, you've got to reach out as soon as they put their resignation in and try to get them to fill that out before they leave. So we're hoping to see a better response with that.
And to follow up that question, when will we, the board, get some kind of maybe report on the results of those, so we can kind of get an idea, or will that just be maybe coming through our next Raymond survey or something like that?
I was going to do an HR report. We would finish out the year in June, and then I'd present that at the July meeting, but if you'd like it before then, I can pull something together.
I can wait.
Because then you'll have more stats of what we've done over the length of the year.
Yes. Okay, thank
Is
you.
that good?
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope. Thank you. Okay, so we need a motion to approve the hiring of the new professional staff after completion of proper certification, testing, and other HR requirements.
I will make that motion.
That was supported.
Okay, anything further? Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. Okay, thank you. Charitable gifts.
Yes, nice crop of charitable gifts again. Huron Shores Fellowship Church donated handmade hats and mittens valued at $150 to Hinks and Lincoln Elementary Schools. Madison Timmerick donated a DECA competition blazer valued at $100 to the AHS DECA Marketing Club. In partnership with APS, Clark Construction donated $100 of prize money to the Boys and Girls Club of Alpena after winning third best commercial float in the Alpena Christmas Parade. VFW Post 2496 Auxiliary donated $250 to the McKinney-Vento homeless and at-risk students. Race and Leif Darlene gave a monetary donation of $1,000 towards the purchase of shirts, tournament entry fees, and miscellaneous expenses to support the AHS Knowledge Bowl team. The Bradley Agency gave a monetary donation of $135 for miscellaneous expenses to support the AHS Knowledgeable Team. And AACU gave a monetary donation of $50 for miscellaneous expenses to support the AHS Knowledgeable Team.
I would offer a motion to accept the gifts listed above with gratitude and thanks to the donors in writing for their generous gifts.
Support.
Okay, anything further? Okay, all in favor, show of hands, please. Thank you. Okay, we are at the second opportunity for citizens or delegations who would like to address the board. Okay. No one's moving, so we'll just keep on going. And up next, any letters of communications to share tonight? Nope. Okay, reports and information from the superintendent and staff.
All right. If you would. Again, just not sure how it was able to print up or be viewed on your end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just a copy of the letter of intent for the outdoor fitness court. This is non-binding, and the binding part will come later in this process if we continue to move forward. But I applied for and we were approved for a matching grant to install the outdoor fitness court. And if we move forward, we are currently the only K-12 institution in the state of Michigan that's been approved for this. So we would be the first one to put this court in, again, as we go down the process and decide that we want to do that. The first step, though, in accepting the grant is having a letter of intent, which you see in front of you. Again, it's non-binding. I would be signing off on this. But just like I pointed out in my update to you, ultimately, if we get down the road, March, I think, is one of the deadlines, we'd be looking at the matching grant from this company is $50,000, and then we would be asking board approval for $50,000 to match that. Then we also, during that time frame, go out to the community for local donors, and supporters, and that sort of thing. So tonight, this is just, unless I hear a strong objection, I would send this letter back to them. I have a meeting scheduled, I think, tomorrow to say that we did move forward and then talk in more detail about next steps. But again, this is non-binding for us. As we move through that process, there'll be a time when we need to put something officially in front of the board. And it'll be January, February, somewhere in there, most likely February.
It was like 200,000 total?
Yeah,
budget?
230, 240. There's two models. One that is, I think, around $240-some thousand, and then the other one was closer to 200.
And that, other than this 50,000, we've got to come up with that balance, either ourselves or out of the community.
Sure, this board does have the opportunity to fund the whole thing, but the idea is to bring the community in, support, gain interest, and partner on it. Yeah.
How would that look? Who goes to the community?
Me primarily, and anyone who wants to knock on doors with me.
Well, this would absolutely be something I would think we would want to request a portion of the funds from Youth and Rec.
Yeah, and
It's ideal for that. And my only concern would be making sure that we know their timeframes for their submissions, and when you need to present your project and have all of your data, we would want to make sure we would coordinate that, but.
And I have had those conversations with Tony,
Perfect.
and there's money set aside that, because we are not synced up with their timelines,
Okay.
but they had set aside money this year, and he said this would be an opportunity to take advantage of that.
Okay.
I will just say, I'm fine to continue moving on right now. I'm not sure that personally I'm totally sold on it, just concerns with upkeep, actual use, and just the perception. Well, yeah, liability, just the perception of the public if they would find that it's good use of tax dollars especially if we have to fundraise and people are giving money, if that's, I mean, I know that obviously the weight room is a huge, huge chunk of money, which this is peanuts compared to that, but again, I just worry a little bit that the community wouldn't be super excited about it, so that's just my initial reservations, but still open mind and supportive of moving forward, but not 100% sold.
Okay. So again, I'm moving forward, it's non-binding, and then we'll have more details at future meetings here, so. And then next on there is recognition of Gordon and Stacy as this is their last meeting.
Want me to go first, or are you gonna go?
I'll leave it to you.
I'll go, and then you can present that. But we had papers in the packet about that too, so. I did write a few notes because my mind, went everywhere, so, this weekend I was just thinking about this board meeting and, the two of you, and I think I just became more in awe of what you've given this district over the past 6 and 17 years, just everything you've done, the programs that you've helped create, and the time that you've given. 6 and 17 years it's a lot of time, and we know it's not just 2 board meetings a month, it's the preparation, the activities, the checking of the emails, the events, school visits, extra committees you've served on, special meetings that we go to, and it's just a testament to the type of people you are to give that amount of time to the community and our school district. And then when I think back over the last 6 years and some of the highlights that I'd just like to kind of shout out that you've been a part of, that, when you came on board, it was Dr. Van Wagner was the superintendent, and you were part of working with him and interim Superintendent Wooden, and then the hiring of Dr. Rabideau, and that's no small feat to be a part of hiring a superintendent, I imagine. And then you both got the district through the pandemic, and I know that nothing is ever perfect, and there's not a district out there that says that they did it the right way, but I think there were some great things that came out of what the district did with you helped grow the online curriculum and an online school for a lot of kids that needed it during that time. Our online course catalog is huge. A lot of kids enrolled in the partnership that we needed to service those families, and that was a great thing that you both were a part of during the pandemic. You were integral parts of establishing the new healthcare clinic at the high school, and I just saw a post recently on Facebook about a family, how grateful they were that was available to them this week. You helped grow and promote the CTE programs. You both sat on special committees for those. You've been a part of multiple strategic plans, which help guide the district and shape the education of our students. It's a lot of work. Of course, you were both tremendous assets in passing the Safe Warm Dry Bond, and not only were you just board members during that time, but you were both on the committee that helped inform the public and travel around to help educate and inform local voters. I remember having a private conversation with you, sit down at Cabin Creek to learn more, and once the millage passed, you didn't just sit back, you've still been active and involved in touring the schools and watching the progress. Stacy, your knowledge with school finance and the budget, it's been amazing, and that expertise that you bring to the board will certainly be missed. Going back even further, and I know there's so much more even during those 6 years, but even going back, I just can't wrap my head around anyone volunteering 17 years to anything.
Thank you for making that distinction. I was feeling very badly that there's no comparison. So thank you for saying that.
17 years, that is longer than a student is enrolled in APS. And you've been a part of more things than any of us here sitting at the table can even be aware of. And it's remarkable. And aside from just even the time that you've given and the roles that you filled on the school board, you have always worked tirelessly behind the scenes. Many families and students, including my own 2 boys, know who you are because of the time that you spend in the classrooms. Every year you volunteer extra time to be a part of nearly every reinstatement hearing that the district needs to hold. You attend a magnitude of school events to support our staff and students. You write the board briefs after every meeting to keep our APS staff informed. And over your tenure, you've worked with, I believe, 3 full-time superintendents and multiple interim superintendents. You've been a huge part in the creation of the early college and dual enrollment programs, multiple new AP courses. You've sat on multiple curriculum review and selection committees. You were part of the creation of the Family Homeschool Partnership Program. Not only were you a part of creating the healthcare clinic at the high school, but also the one at Lincoln Elementary School. You've helped shape and attend multiple APS Hall of Fame events, and truly the list goes on and on. 17 years is a long time to recap, and I know I can't possibly do that justice. But I want you both to make sure that you're well aware that even as your time as trustees is coming to an end, that the policies and programs that you've helped create and implement, they carry on. So your hard work and your legacy that you have created does not end, and we all thank you for everything that you have done for the community and APS. No thanks, not enough thanks to go around, so thank you.
Nice to state. Thank you very much.
And so I'm not going to try to top that in any way, shape, or form. However, this is the end of an era for me because you are the last 2 board members on the board that actually hired me. So you have been there as a support right from the beginning, from our day where we toured the district, and I talked about moving to a new community with children, Stacy, and you had some good words there to help me make that decision. And for, I don't know, first however long we met weekly, Gordon, your concern about getting me up and ready to go and be successful was valued time for sure. And ever since then, both of you have just been tremendous supporters for myself, but also for the district, as we just heard in great detail. Not enough detail, though. But so from really from me and my family, thank you for everything you did for me and always for the district, too. We do have a couple of plaques here to present to you, and then Lisa Ray just wanted to say something as well. So Stacy's plaque, it's big, but I can't read it. Board of Education member January 2018 through December 24. Stacy W. Parr, in grateful recognition for your unwavering dedication, professionalism, and leadership from the Alpena Public Schools Board of Education 2024.
Thank you so much.
And then, again, in recognition of the length of time and commitment, a little bit different plaque here for Gordon, though. Board of Education member, January 2008. Where was I in 2008? Through December 24, Gordon Snow, in grateful recognition for your unwavering dedication, professional, and leadership, the Alpena Public Schools Board of Education.
Thank you for allowing me some time. As you know, my name is Lisa Ray. I am an Alpena County resident and the president of the Alpena Education Association. And I want to take a moment to thank both Stacy and Gordon on behalf of our teachers for your tireless work in making sure our schools are safe, that we have materials that we need, and for visiting our schools to watch the different programs that you've been attending over your years. The teachers here wish you both the best going forward with whatever it is you're going to do. And just on a personal note, I want to thank you, Gordon. You were a mentor to me when I was going through Spring Harbor, and I wouldn't be here today if it were not for you. So thank you kindly, and good luck to you both. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And that's it for my update.
Any other information and questions from board members? I'm gonna interrupt you really quick, because I think you might have something to say, and
I do.
do you mind if I just say so? So I just did get a
Go
quick
ahead.
message, email that just said, FYI, manufactured are not the same as pre-built. They are allowed in the city. The blue house on the corner of White and First is a pre-built where Thunder Bay Junior High was. So there is definitely some language that we can
That's what I was.
fine tune, yes, so, okay. All right,
If you've been on the board very long, you've received a variety of communications from me, especially when I was serving as president. And I have had some random thoughts, really partly directed to the folks in this room, but also to the two incoming board members. So I'm just going to go through this fairly quickly. It won't take very long. My firm belief is that the job of Alpena Public Schools is to prepare students for their future, no matter what they do after they leave Alpena High School. Join the workforce, go into the military, participate in an internship, attend trade school, college, university. All of those things we help prepare them for, and we also have to help prepare them to live wherever they end up. It doesn't necessarily be in Alpena County or Michigan or even in North America. We, as board members, represent the entire community that we live in. We should not be representing a specific set of voters, or just our neighbors, or just the parents of kids in the district, or specific programs, or a particular viewpoint. I believe firmly that every deliberation, decision, and action must reflect the best interest of every student served by this district. This includes curriculum offerings, special education services, extracurricular activities, whether they be academic, athletic, musical, volunteer, robotics, Knowledge Bowl, or others. High school offerings such as advanced placement courses, dual enrollment with ACC, the Alpena Early College Program, career and technical education courses. Those are all important. As board members, we have to remember that our job is to hire, and I've been involved with the hiring of 3 superintendents, and then evaluate the superintendent. We establish and then update, as we did again tonight, policies which spell out how the district is going to operate. One of our jobs is to approve and adopt a budget, and if you've never looked at the report that comes from the auditors, when you first see it, it's kind of overwhelming. We must consistently serve as advocates for all of the kids in the district. We have to support the decisions that are made by this board, even if we personally don't necessarily agree with those decisions. It's not our responsibility to micromanage the district, as tempting as that might be on occasions. And when I was serving as principal at Maple Ridge or Long Rapids or Wilson, there often were folks who wanted to micromanage what we were trying to do, even to the point where complaining because we had windows open in January. I mean, it was crazy. We do want to point out that Alpena Public Schools has a policy 0144.2, which clearly states at the very beginning that board members will strive to improve public education. And this, to me, means all of the members of the school-age public, preschool, pre-kindergarten rather, through college, male, female, athletes, musicians, Christians, Muslims, Jews, students of color, the LGBTQ youngsters, English language learners, students with different physical, mental, and developmental abilities, the homeless kids, and certainly students from families which are struggling due to financial or other issues. It's really important, and so many of the comments that I received in the summer shared appreciation of teachers and others that I was visiting classrooms, I was in buildings. It's important that every single one of us as a board member be in the buildings, not just where your kids go to school, but in all of the buildings in the district. And it's really important concerts, programs, debates, sporting events, award ceremonies, and special assemblies, even if there's a guest speaker who is hired by the district to come in and talk. The kaput activities at the high school, I sat in or wandered through several of those and was very impressed with how well entertained the kids were, but also how well behaved they were. Professional development for staff is important to sit in. You mentioned just recently that you attended something this fall. And do that. Don't be afraid to sit in on the professional development activities. And there are lots of other things going on too. I certainly am proud, if you will, to be wrapping up 17 years of work with the district. I had an email today from a teacher that I served as a mentor for right after I retired, when she was teaching at Hubbard Lake School. Already I've been invited now to be a guest reader during the March's Reading Month activities, and I get those kinds of things occasionally, and it's nice to have a reason to be in a building. I don't just go in and wander. I remember a couple of times I was at the high school, and there were teachers who didn't know me who were really quite afraid that I was a spy. And I was looking for horrible things so I could share them with you folks, I suppose. I have enjoyed putting the board briefs or board notes or board news or whatever it's called, putting that together, and am thinking very seriously about continuing to do that at least for a while, just because I think that it will get me in this room occasionally too, because I won't try to watch the online things, but I think it's important that the community know who we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it, and that the board briefs have been one way that I think I can do that. So I'm going to miss this place, but I'll find other things to do to fill my time. So thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? You set?
You know me, I'll talk for an hour, but nobody needs to hear that. No, I would just say thank you, everyone. All of you, whether we've been together for a long time or a short time or somewhere in between, you've all been very impactful, and I appreciate working with everyone. I appreciate this opportunity. It's been lovely, a great experience. I would encourage anybody listening or watching or, tuning in some other way, consider volunteer service. It is so worth your time. And when you can do it for an organization like this, it's even more impactful. Many times I've sat here and thought, well, is that the right thing for me? Maybe not. Is it the best thing for the student body? I think so. To echo Gordon a little bit, I do think that's very, very important and something we need to constantly keep in the forefront of our mind. But again, I appreciate my time with all of you. I will miss you guys. I'll be here. You'll see me back there once in a while, and chances are you'll see me standing right up there doing this. So I'll warn you all in advance. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anything further? Okay, if not, we will we'll need a motion to move into a closed section under Section 8A of the Open Meetings Act to consider the quarterly informal evaluation of the superintendent. And we will need a roll call on this one.
And sorry, I missed that this is the formal.
This is
Yeah,
the
okay,
formal
yeah.
annual evaluation.
Okay, so strike that, and someone we'll need a new motion that it is our annual formal evaluation.
So moved.
Support.
Okay. All right, anything else? Okay, if not, we'll need a roll call, please.
Member Meinhardt?
Aye.
Member Hanson?
Aye.
Member MacArthur?
Aye.
Member Snow?
Aye.
Member Fritz?
Aye.
Member Lawson?
Aye.
Member Parr?
Aye.
Okay, I believe we are continuing our meeting here in this room, and if anyone's sticking around, we will have a motion about the evaluation when we return. Otherwise, that's it.